Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging into a world where, well, deception is practically an art form, and our protagonist is wonderfully, maybe deliciously, morally gray. We're getting into Ashley Elston's adult debut thriller, First Lie Wins. It's a book that's not only grabbed tons of readers, but it's already headed for the small screen.
Absolutely. And for this deep dive, we're digging into a really vibrant Reddit thread over on Books. It's just packed with unfiltered thoughts, comparisons, some pretty lively debates, too.
Right.
We've pulled out the most compelling bits, everything from what made the pacing kind of unique and engaging to, the character twists that really kept people guessing.
So think of this as your shortcut, your backstage pass, to understanding all the buzz around First Lie Wins. We'll give you the full picture. Its immediate impact, the deeper questions it raised, why certain things clipped, and why Hollywood came knocking so fast.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Ashley Elston, she built a strong following with, 6 young adult novels?
That's right, 6 YA books.
So First Lie Wins is a pretty big leap into adult fiction. What was the immediate reaction? Like, how did people take this genre jump, and what made it grab readers right from the start?
Well, what's really striking is how seamlessly she seemed to make that transition, and readers were drawn in really quickly.
Okay.
The original Reddit post we looked at praised the plot as, I think the quote was, intriguing and moderately paced and interesting enough.
Moderately paced. Interesting.
Yeah, and that the characters were introduced and described suitably throughout the timeline. A lot of users echoed that. You saw comments like, fantastic, people saying they were hooked, that it draws you in immediately.
So instant engagement.
Pretty much.
Right.
One reader put it really well. I'm currently reading now, and I'm hooked. It's a fantastic book, and the way it's written, it's very easy to visualize and would be a great show.
Ah, the visualization point already.
Right. And that immediate pull, it's not just luck. It speaks to Elston's, concise, active writing style. And the structure often uses that in media as opening, drops you right into the action.
Like a lot of good spy thrillers do.
Exactly. It bypasses all that slow setup and just forces you to engage right away.
So it's not just what she wrote, but how she built that momentum from page one, almost like writing a script from the get-go.
Yeah, you could say that. For a debut in this genre, getting that kind of immediate hook is, well, it's quite something.
And someone compared it to The Godfather.
Yeah.
That's quite a statement.
It is bold, isn't it?
Right.
But I think it suggests that same kind of intricate plotting maybe and really memorable characters that stick with you. It definitely signals a strong arrival in the genre.
Okay, and a huge part of that, I imagine, is the protagonist, Luca.
Definitely.
She keeps getting described as morally gray. Now, for listeners who maybe aren't familiar with that term in thrillers, what does that really mean? Is it just like doing bad things for good reasons? Or is it deeper?
Oh, it's definitely deeper than just a simple means to an end thing.
Yeah.
A truly morally gray character like Luca, she operates with this internal ethical compass that's pretty different from standard societal norms. And that forces you, the reader, to question your own definitions of right and wrong. It really challenges that simple hero versus villain idea.
Okay.
Luke is described as someone who does the sketchy things but lives by her own rules. And the Reddit thread actually gave specific examples of this code.
Oh, like what?
Well, like, she refused to leave a little boy alone in a house and let his mom die. She also refused to try to ruin a good man. And she even taught a poor young football player how to game the system to his advantage.
Huh. So not your typical criminal mastermind.
Not at all. These aren't actions of a standard hero, obviously, but they're not purely villainous either. Refusing to harm innocents, refusing to ruin good people, but still willing to bend or break the rules. It makes her more of an anti-hero.
With her own distinct code.
Exactly. And that resonates with readers, I think, who might be tired of, flat, one-dimensional characters. Someone on Reddit noted she could run things through her own lenses of morality and do things a lot better than Mr. Smith. It's nuanced.
So she's not just breaking laws, she's operating by her own, maybe different moral standard. Which means for you, the reader, you're not just following a clear hero or villain.
Right.
You're with someone complex, making these choices that make you think about your own values. It absolutely adds layers to the suspense, doesn't it? When you're not totally sure if you should be rooting for her.
It really does. That ambiguity is key to the thrill, I think. You're always on edge, wondering not just what's next, but why she chooses that path.
Okay, so we see how Luca keeps us hooked. And that tension often gets amplified by how the story is told. So let's talk about Elston's narrative choices. the point of view, the structure, and how different formats like audiobooks affected things.
Well, the novel mostly sticks to Luca's point of view, which gives you that really intimate access to her thoughts, her plans.
Makes sense.
But one sharp user pointed out that, in a manner of speaking, it is told from multiple characters' POV, which kind of hints at Elston's clever control over information.
So maybe not direct multiple POVs, but hints from elsewhere.
Exactly, like maybe secondary characters' observations or clues dropped indirectly. It's a way to build suspense, common in like domestic thrillers. Now, structure-wise, there was some mixed feedback.
Oh.
Some users said they could have done without the flashbacks to past jobs, and also the weird communication through Instagram and Reddit.
The modern touches.
Right. But then others, as we said, found the writing very easy to visualize. Those flashbacks, presumably, are there to give us backstory, right? Show her skills, her motivations. And the social media stuff, well, that reflects how things work now, especially for cons.
It's interesting how those choices can split readers, isn't it? Like, does it enhance things for you or does it pull you out?
Exactly.
And the audiobook format, that really sparked discussion. Some people loved listening, but others were, quote, honestly so confused. Felt it was maybe one of those books you need to physically read.
Yeah, that happens, especially with complex plots. How our brains process auditory versus visual information differs.
And there was that specific issue with the narrator.
Oh, right. One user had real trouble because the narrator used the same voices as in another book, The God of the Woods.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they said it made them constantly stop and rewind because they kept confusing the characters between the two books.
And it's tough. Almost like getting wires crossed in your head while you're trying to follow a thriller.
It really is. It shows how much the production, the narration itself matters for audiobooks.
Yeah.
It really highlights how crucial those narrative choices, the POV shifts, the structure, and even the audiobook production are for understanding and just, enjoying a fast-paced story like this. Format choice becomes really personal.
Absolutely. And speaking of complexities, let's talk about the ending. Because with a character like Luca, operating by her own rules, the climax is bound to be interesting. Every thriller builds to that point, right? And First Lie wins. Definitely got people talking about its ending. What were the main reactions? Any lingering confusion?
Yeah, this is where you see that gap sometimes between what readers expect and what the author delivers. Several users definitely expressed confusion, maybe even a bit of disappointment.
Oh.
One person said, I thought Luca was going straight, but it seems at end she took over Mr. Smith's con game. This kind of surprise disappointed me.
So they wanted a redemption arc, maybe?
Potentially, yeah. Another user flat out asked for clarification on the ending, which shows it wasn't crystal clear for everyone.
Okay, so what was the clarification within the thread?
Well, it was explained that Devin, Amy, and Luca took over the operation, and also that Ryan also continues dealing in the illegal shipments.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, it seems to confirm Luca is still involved in the sketchy things, but now she's calling the shots, presumably using her own moral framework.
So it kind of subverts that typical ending where the protagonist escapes that life.
Exactly. It leans into the idea that maybe her skills and her code are best used within that world, just on her own terms.
That's a really interesting take. But you mentioned disappointment, but also satisfaction.
Right, because it really sparked debate. That user with the origami swan tattoo, they were apparently sweating, hoping it stayed good through the end, and they felt it was the best ending possible.
Wow, complete opposite reaction.
Totally. So you've got this whole spectrum from confusion to deep satisfaction, which, often means the story did something memorable, something that makes you think or talk about it.
Definitely. And just to tie up a loose end, apparently some readers were shipping Luca and Devin.
Yes. There was some speculation about a romance there, but the book apparently clarified that he got with Amy's sister. So, case closed on that theory.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so for listeners who love this book or are just looking for something similar, that Reddit thread was like a recommendation engine.
It really was.
What other books or even TV shows did readers connect it to? Find any, literary cousins for Luca?
Yeah, what was fascinating was just the variety of comparisons people made. It shows its broad appeal, I think. Readers saw similarities to Stone Cold Fox by Rachel Collercroft and also The Last Flight by Julie Clark, both big thrillers.
Right, I know those.
And one user actually liked First Lie Wins best out of those three, which suggests Elston really found a sweet spot.
Interesting.
Someone else mentioned Listen for the Lie and noted it was great as an audiobook because a podcast is central to the plot. Very meta.
Huh. Perfect for us.
Right. And beyond books, some felt it had an adult Veronica Mars vibe, that smart, witty female investigator feel.
Oh, I could see that.
And even a Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibe, bringing in that sort of spy versus spy dynamic, maybe with some romantic tension.
Lots of different angles there.
Definitely. And it was a Reese's Book Club pick, which is obviously huge. One user said they enjoyed it, even though they usually find those picks kind of meh.
High praise, breaking through the meh.
Exactly. Suggests it stood out.
So this gives you a great starting point if you're looking for your next read with that kind of feel-strong female lead, lots of twists.
For sure.
It seems like Elston managed to blend bits from different successful thrillers, but still keep it unique. And you mentioned the setting adds authenticity, too.
Yeah, that came up. We learned the story moves around multiple locations, such as Texas, Virginia, Louisiana.
Okay.
And apparently the author's own Louisiana background really grounds the South setting. That kind of regional detail can make the whole con game feel more real, root it in a specific place.
Definitely adds flavor. Okay, finally, the ultimate sign a book has hit big, the adaptation. First Lie Wins is getting the Hollywood treatment. Seems almost inevitable given how visual people found it. What do we know about its path to the screen? And what did the Redditors think?
Well, this really makes you think about how we see stories when we read. Even before the official news, several users just spontaneously commented on its potential for TV or film.
Like they were casting it in their heads already.
Pretty much. Comments like, as I was reading this book, I thought it would make for an awesome show. And echoing that point about it being very easy to visualize and would be a great show.
So the cinematic feel was obvious to readers.
It seems so. And the news was confirmed. A series is being made for Hulu. It's a Krista Vernoff new project for Hulu and ABC Signature.
Oh, Krista Vernoff from Grey's Anatomy, Station 19. She knows how to do character-driven drama.
Exactly. She brings a lot of experience. And readers were, as you'd expect, really excited. Someone immediately wondered who will play the characters on screen.
Of course. The fan casting begins.
Right. But what makes a book feel cinematic usually comes down to sharp dialogue, vivid settings, and a protagonist whose internal struggles translate well into external action. And First Lie Wins seems to have all of that.
Yeah, it sounds like that visual, fast pace, plus Luca's whole unconventional approach made it a natural fit for TV right from the start.
It seems that way.
And for you, the listener, it's always fun seeing how a book you love translates, right? The enthusiasm from these Redditors suggests pretty high hopes for the show.
Definitely. It'll be fascinating to see how they bring Luca's rules and those complex cons to life.
Yeah.
And maybe how they expand that world Elston built. Something to keep an eye on.
For sure. Okay, so we've navigated the twist that turns the lies of First Lie Wins. From that instantly grabbing plot and the complex, morally gray Luca to that ending that got everyone talking and its exciting leap to Hulu. It's really clear Ashley Elston hit a nerve with this debut, sparking tons of conversation and challenging some thriller norms.
Absolutely. As we wrap up this deep dive, it's worth thinking about Luca's journey, her really unique moral compass. She's in this world where lies are basically currency, right? But she always has her own set of rules, these self-imposed lines she won't cross.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder, when you craft a deception that meticulously, especially one that follows your own personal code, is there a point where that lie, through your own conviction, your actions, does it start to become its own kind of truth?
Yeah.
What does it mean for us as readers, as people, when we encounter characters who blur those lines so effectively? Does it force us to maybe reevaluate our own ideas about integrity, about authenticity, especially in a world that feels increasingly built on, curated realities?